Welcome back to the Car Speed Garage. Today we are upgrading the turbo on the GTI project we have going on right now. This is an OEM Plus upgrade, so this is the turbo from a different car in the VW lineup, which if that's a new thing to you, we'll dive into it more in the video, but we got a lot of work to do. Let's dive right into the process. We've got some Unitronic goodies, we've got some air fresheners, some stickers of their new, I believe, I don't remember which Audi model. This is their race car. Randall, you want to open that? What does that smells like?
Smells like black ice.
Yeah.
Little black ice action.
Well, there you have it. Randall's review of black ice. Hardware kit for the turbo upgrade. We've got a gasket in there. We've got a Unitronic flag, this package. This is the Unitronics. You can purchase it through them. I have a link in the description. The genuine IS38 turbocharger. So we got a box inside a box. Let's open it up. Fun fact, this is the first turbo upgrade that the channel has ever done or seen. All new to me. One big piece. I guess this is literally everything. That's a turbo with everything attached to it. Randall's educating me on turbo stuff. Randall, what did you just show me?
So there's a few different styles of turbos. So what we have over here is a T4 style, so this right here. And these are the other styles that you'll see. T4 seems to be most common for most applications, but it always just depends on what kind of application you want to set or what application you're running.
So if you're new here, we've always been doing bolt-on builds, but Randall came around to start helping build custom cars on the channel. So I'm kind of just taking these small mental notes as we run into things. He's just showing me things as we go because these are things we have to learn and know what's happening when we dive into the custom stuff. So if you're new here, hit that subscribe button if you like bolt-ons and custom cars, and I'll be trying to teach you guys as much as we're learning on the fly. A quick tour of this turbo so you guys know your way around, so you feel confident talking about it. Let's start right here. This is where the turbo connects to the exhaust manifold. So this is the T4 flange style that we have. It's divided, that's why there's a piece in the middle right here. And then we have a little bung right here. That's for your O2 sensor, we believe. I'm gonna rotate this whole thing. This is our turbo muffler. So this little piece right here is to quiet the turbo, something all the VW stuff has. And they have deletes for this, but we don't have one. I heard it doesn't really make too much of a difference, so I don't want to waste time or money on it. And then this is the intake side. So this is where your turbo inlet pipe goes right here. And so that's where the fresh air comes in, and then the turbocharger compresses it, sends it through your engine, and then back out the exhaust side, which is out your downpipe right here. But going back over here on like the intake side of the turbocharger, this is our recirculation valve. So you've heard of a blow-off valve, a diverter valve. This is basically an attached all-in-one diverter valve, which is this little guy right here that has a little plug for a wire, so that when you let off the throttle, you have all this pressure inside the turbocharger and it just sends it back into the inlet side of the compressor, so it stays on this side. Now when I flip it over this way, you see this contraption right here. This is our internal wastegate, and so this is a turbocharger like most from factory have internal wastegates. So what this does is this controls how much pressure it sends to your engine and how much it builds up. So your computer's saying, hey, don't build up more than 15 pounds of boost, because the temperatures and whatever's happening, whatever driving conditions you're in, that's the wastegate's job to control that flow of how much boost is sent to your engine. So that's what this wastegate does. It has this little arm right here that moves a physical piece inside the exhaust side. This is what the wastegate attaches to, so that's responsible for controlling boost. Right inside here is your exhaust turbine, and then we'll show you on the other side what the intake looks like. You can see up in there, you can see how it has bearings just like anything else, and that spins freely. And then these plugs right here and here, and then there's another one on this side right here. These are oil feed and drain lines. So you have one that has oil coming in and one that has oil coming out. And what this does is this lubricates the bearings inside your turbo, so that when it's spinning really fast, there's no friction and this thing can run smoothly. So it's always important to make sure you have oil pressure, not only for your engine, but remember, this is also oil pressure going into your turbo to make sure everything stays functioning as it should. Two things: the car is really dirty for a purpose, for a piece of video content. Just wait for it. The second thing, I always repeat it, but don't be scared because we have a lift. I would totally do this on the ground with jack stands. We just do this on the regular over at the house, and we have a lift so we can make better videos and move faster because we're doing this so much now. We're just at that level. The whole thing about Karma Speed and the website and the whole brand is building confidence in the garage. Randall and I are here to help you do that. So don't be discouraged by us having a lift and you not having a lift. It just serves a purpose at the house here for us and make our lives a lot easier so we can make more content for you and better content. If you guys haven't checked out karmaspeed.com, ever been there, go grab a t-shirt, a GTI jet tag. What color should we do next, by the way? We've had black forever, we'll always have black. What color should we do next? We have a Volkswagen t-shirt, go check it out. The first step in this turbo upgrade process, when we're under the car, we're looking at our exhaust pipe right here. It leads up to our down pipe that is connected to the turbocharger up there. So we're gonna go ahead and disconnect part of the cab back, get the down pipe slid out of here, and then we can start working from the top, disconnect the oil feed lines, disconnect the turbo from the exhaust manifold, and then transfer everything over. You're gonna see the whole process. So we're gonna get this exhaust out here. It's pretty straightforward. If you want to check out the downpipe install video, it's on the channel on the playlist for the GTI, and that'll give you everything you need to know as far as how the downpipe goes in and out. We're going to speed through this really quick.
So this was Cameron's first toolbox. We just emptied out the top with all his stuff. We're going to be using this kind of just to move in and outside to the lift. Just putting a couple things in here kind of reminded me of my first toolbox setup. This is kind of what it was like, if not even less. Just had like my ratchet and couple sockets, but you got to start somewhere, and I'm not even near to where I want to be, but give it another 10 years and I might be there. So when you're getting tools, if you have the kind of money, you can get it all at once, but typically with most people, you slowly build up your arsenal over time, which, like I said, I'm nowhere near some of the master mechanics out there, but like I said, with time, you'll start to build up your arsenal.
Randall's gone to town. He's pulled off the entire intake, everything in the engine bay out of the way. If you guys don't know how to do that, we have an intake install on the channel, so go check that out. We're not going to duplicate everything and show it all, but now we're getting to the meat of the process of disconnecting everything from the turbo, and from here we can get this thing out of there and swap it out. What's happening here?
Taking off the
intercooler piping. So to get this guy off, that's real tough. We're going to go ahead and remove the turbo inlet pipe that we added from Unitronic, and then once that's out, we'll be able to get this hard guy off.
Like so.
Next up, removing this little heat shield right here. What size we got, Randall?
There's a 10 millimeter.
Someone just commented on one of the previous videos that was posted that we need to make a shirt that says everybody needs a Randall with a picture of his boots. That is hilarious. If you guys want to see that shirt, leave a comment down below and we'll make it. We just need enough of you that we know we're gonna get orders in. How do you feel about that shirt idea?
I need 3 of them. One for every day of the week. Make it 5.
That would make a statement if you just meet people and then you introduce yourself as Randall and they read your shirt. That's hilarious. What do you got back there? What are you using?
So on the back side of this, we have a number 5 Allen head. We'll use just a regular Allen head to get that back one.
We run into an issue where we can't get the last bolt for this, so Randall's gonna go ahead and pull off. We're pulling off the coil, like the whole...
Yeah, whole coil pack.
Removing our ground wires for each plug, so you don't lose anything. Don't lose any nuts.
Don't want to lose your nuts. There we go. I just use it to pry upward on it to pull it out.
Got another plug right here. Now we have room. What do you got over there?
Just got some other plugs along the timing cover here.
It's that little bolt in there, I think. We got one of them came out.
The other one fell on the floor.
Randall's got his O2 sensor socket kit. Is this a Snap-on product? No.
Not that one, no.
Harbor Freight?
No, I got that one, I think, from Amazon.
Oh yeah, okay, we'll leave one linked in the description. Randall just cracked it loose. If you look at an O2 sensor socket, it has room for the wire on the O2 sensor. But Randall's got it loose enough, he's gonna try and get it out by hand so you don't damage the wire.
The big thing is you don't want these wires binding up because it will twist. So you want to be able to get that wire out, kind of like so, to where it can spin and not bind up on
you. This hose gotta come off. But once we make the boots version, we'll make a Crocs version.
Yes, sir. So our manifold flange bolts, they are 12 millimeter.
Ratcheting wrench seems to do the trick for that one so far.
You gotta love these Arizona cars, so you don't gotta worry about that rust.
Yeah, for
Everything
real.
is real nice and the way it comes from the factory.
We pay for it though.
But then again, this is a 2017. You give this car another like 8 years and you'll have those issues.
Bolt number 2 of 4.
Didn't need that either.
So you can see, got one nut off of right there. But then when we step underneath right here, we can see there's our 4th one. And then we also got to get those oil lines off. What socket is that?
1220.
Alright, so now we're getting this off by hand. This is a problem. So Randall brought me a long 12 point. Let's see what this is all about. Alright, you're gonna send the next one out with it all the way with your ratchet. Randall's going ahead, and on the bottom of the turbo, we gotta disconnect it from this little bracket that connects to the block. Got it loose. With a 13 millimeter, we went ahead and broke this loose. Now Randall's gonna get the electric ratchet to get it all the way off. 4th bolt on the turbo flange. Randall's got up there with his ratcheting wrench. All 4 bolts are off. From the top, we just got that. There was a hose clamp right here, we slid it down. Now hopefully, this hose will slide off. You can see we just got it free and the hose is down there leaking like a sieve with coolant. But Randall went ahead and used this little guy right here because the rubber hoses fuse to the plastic bungs or whatever you want to call it, the pipe. They fuse right there where it's just focused on. So you gotta break that seal loose with this little tip, and then I went ahead and reached from this side and pulled that hose down, and then I just let it down and it's dripping all the coolant out. So hope that helps. All right, you can see how I slid my needle nose through here. I'm just gonna pry up on it.
They come with rings.
Should have. That just popped out. That's what you want. All right, so that's one. Now we're gonna try and get the turbo off the studs. I hope one of you guys watching this buys this car when I'm done with it so I don't gotta put this back. Well, gonna let it drain for a little bit first. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this protective guy from the drive shaft. That'll give me some room to pry off the oil lines in the bottom, I'm hoping. So we just got that oil line out on the left. I'm gonna break it down once this is out how we did it. Now I gotta get the one on the right, which looks even harder. All right, so Randall pulled the T30 that was bolted right here, and then we took a pry bar, slid it in behind this pipe where my finger is, and then wiggled it out, and it came out right there. Now the turbo should be free. We should try and pull it out from the top. Just realized that there's a bolt right here. Oh yeah, she's free. Now we're gonna remove about 5 of these valve control solenoids, I believe. We got a T25 Torx bit. Randall's dropping everything today?
Yes, sir. Step 49, remove 65 hose clamp connectors.
Off. Come on. Come on, baby. I don't think it's supposed to come this way. I gotta go back down.
Oh,
yeah.
come on, Travis.
Ah, I ain't no mechanic. I gotta remove 2 more of these little solenoids.
washers, 11s. No.
All right, got this. We're done for the day. Give it to me.
Ooh, she's close.
I'm about to blow a freaking coil pack off this thing. Hear that? Get ready for that noise right now. Oh, yeah.
These filming skills over here are nice. Just drop the hot tune in and see if it does anything. See if we can overspin this thing.
Oh. So now we're in the garage. We've got our two turbochargers sitting next to each other. We're gonna move this line over as well as this one, and then we'll be ready to drop it back in and use our new gasket and our new nuts for the studs for our exhaust flange. A nice M8 triple square, and this barely fits in here when we have the long ones. This barely fits in here and works, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. We got this guy on, we got this guy on. We've got them both torqued down to 9 Newton meters. Now it's the part I'm dreading. Let's throw it back in the car in the dark. Alright, so we're on the bottom side of the turbo, and this wire right here plugs in on the bottom. You can see the little gray plug right there. So that is normally on top of the IS-20, and it's at the bottom for this one. So make sure when you are placing the turbo in here, before you even set it on the actual studs up here on the head, you're gonna wanna plug that in first. I didn't, but I was able to pull it back enough to get it in. So that's the first thing you do after you drop the turbo in, and try and do it from the top while you're, still loose with the turbo. Really deep in this, and I'm not impressed with how I've been able to film this. It's actually one of the more difficult things I've ever had to film, and we don't really have the setup like some shops do, so I apologize. There are other videos out there. I know you guys can get this job done if we're doing it, so keep that in mind. The new nuts are 13 millimeter. I'm going up in here and getting on them right there, and I snugged them up so you can see that guy right there and the one above it and the one over there. Good. 25 Newton meters. Next up, got the coolant line attached with the T30 Torx, and then the triple square size 8. The bracket, there's one over here by my finger. You're never gonna see it. But what I did is you can barely fit this in there. So I jammed it in there, and then the socket was back in there, and then I grabbed it with these hose pliers, and then I just freaking twist, rotate, twist, and then turned that bracket bolt on with this. That is just ridiculous. All right, so we got that triple square on, and then that lower one right there, 9 Newton meters. Now we're gonna go on the top and pour our assembly lube into the turbocharger and then hook up the oil line. So this is basically our assembly lube for the turbocharger. I'm gonna squirt some in here. This is okay to mix with the oil. You can spin the wheel inside the turbo to get this fluid moving. Now we can put that bolt back on.
Any components that are exposed to a lot of heat, and or for instance our O2 sensor here that is metal or a steel to aluminum, anything like that, I like to apply some NICs to it. This right here, you don't need a lot, just a little bit will do the trick. And just apply a little bit to the threads right there, and that's all you need, just like so. This stuff right here will help for if this O2 sensor does fail and needs to come out at a later point in its life. It makes it a lot easier, so this actually doesn't seize up in the turbo itself.
And the fun begins. You guys have seen this process a couple times now. I'm not gonna go over it, but I am loading the Stage 2 Plus map from Unitronic. Once this is done, we'll go for a ride. Randall and I are gonna take this thing to lunch. Hopefully we put everything back together right. All right, we are done. Give her a little first start. Are you ready over there?
We're ready.
Randall's checking coolant over there because it was low. I want to leave this here in case we need to read any codes. What do we need to be thinking about after someone does this? Oil leaks, coolant leaks. We got O-rings we're dealing with.
Sometimes with these factory hose clamps, if they're not in the exact position that they were, sometimes, at least I've seen in the past, that you'll have a little bit of a leak. But yeah, coolant leak, oil leak.
And when you were saying hose clamps, you're talking about the intercooler piping.
No, so well that too, but the coolant pipe. So you have those, not the actual hose clamp style where you screw it in. It's the spring loaded style. So those you'll notice on the hose itself, kind of a little bit of an indentation.
Are you talking about the ones on the turbo or on the outside?
So the ones that are on the firewall that go to the heater core.
Oh yeah.
So you'll notice, like I said, in the hose you'll see like a little bit of an indentation from where it originally sat. I've seen in the past, not always, but if that hose clamp isn't exactly where it was to kind of fit into that formation, I've seen leaks before. But like I said, that's not always the case, but something to look out for. Especially with the newer German cars, you want to run a OEM or equivalent coolant. Don't just go and throw the cheapest green or universal coolant that they say that will go with anything. That is not necessarily true. Essentially what can happen is if you run the wrong coolant, you risk essentially corroding your internals in your cooling system, which is not good. So I like to run, this is Audi, Volkswagen. This works across the board with any of these cars, but the coolant in this, the OEM color is pink. So if you see in here.
Did you use that whole thing?
Just about, yeah. You will pay a little bit more money for the name brand stuff, but it's worth paying $25 to $30 versus a whole entire cooling system. So it's a good peace of mind.
Oh, what a guy.
Full service pit stop over here.
It's like you're a real mechanic or something.
Something like that. I hate lights, warning lights.
We're going on our inaugural drive, but I'm gonna let the ECU learn for a little bit before I get on the gas really hard, and we'll see what this is all about. Just driving down the street regular, don't notice anything different. All right, I can feel it a little bit already. I got her in manual third gear. It pulls harder. It's just like, I haven't even got on the gas hard enough, but it just feels like meatier. It's the best way to think about it. Like the boost is just, it's like, give me, it's like now, the previous, what it felt like was like 70% of what this feels like. So this thing just says, give it all. Can't even get traction. Oh, it holds boost all the way. Oh my, it's still holding it. It's sick because now we hit 5,000 RPM and it's just full boost, just pulling all the way when normally it would drop off. That power curve is obviously spot on, but now feeling it firsthand, that's pretty sick. The windows down, little tires, we are warmed up.
Little tire fire.
Should we freaking little launch control on the neighborhood?
Yep. It smells crispy, that's for sure.
Brakes are real hot.
You can cook some eggs on that
thing.
thing.
These are freaking rainbow now. They're looking sick. Got no brake flow.
Literally. I'm
having a lot of fun with it right away. It's nice that the meat of the power band is just much bigger across the board. It's nice that the RPMs and the car just pulls all the way to the top now, which is new to me. We'll be doing a follow-up video on if this is worth the money. Is this worth the time to install it? We'll be doing a review after I get some seat time in it. We're gonna get this car cleaned up soon, so look out for that video as well. We're gonna test the sway bar out at Canyon Lake, so we might as well test the turbo upgrade. So look out for those videos. Go to karmaspeed.com if you guys enjoy the content. Seriously, this helps so much. We can do more expensive cars. We can get into the Audi stuff, more Volkswagen Golf R. I really want to do a Focus RS, like all these cars. So if you guys want to see more content, I'm actually like really big picture thinking, building a team for Karma Speed so we can get out more content, more cars, and just have something for you guys to use as a resource, because we're all about building confidence in the garage. And that's what we want to keep pushing and ramp that up. More videos, you know, more people on the team and stuff like that. So that's, when I say that, I say very humbly, it's going to take a long time to grow, and it took me a long time just to find Randall. But every little bit on karmaspeed.com goes a long way with helping us here at the Karma Speed compound, the garage, the house. It means a lot. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next videos coming out soon. And the GTI might be going away soon, so if you guys want me to fit in anything else at the end, please let me know. Comment down below if you want to see anything. See you next time.